everybody. Thank you for joining us all today. It's our final joint chamber meeting of 2020. It's gone by extremely fast. It's crazy to say that. But we held on to the best for last. I'm so excited to finally meet Marla. I have heard so many wonderful things about her, so I'm really excited to hear what she has to say today. We are asking you if you could please mute yourselves before we get started. That would be wonderful. And then also, if you have any questions for Marla during the presentation, feel free to enter it into the chat. And she did say that she'll be asking questions during the presentation as well. So if she's asking you guys questions, feel free to type away and give her some cool answers. So let's get started. Marla Williams is a life and business coach and a newly published author of The Being Zone and its companion, The Being Journal. Marla has transformed her own life and the lives of over 1,200 clients utilizing the Being Zone system, which she has now documented in her book and supportive training program that you can access on her website. If you are ready to transform your life into one full of happiness and attention, I know I do, you're in the right place. We're excited to have Marla join us today and share a few of her steps on how to move into the Being Zone. So Marla, take it away.
Yay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to be talking about ending up with 5 simple steps that you can take to create calm and happiness in your life and a little bit more focused during this time of COVID and quarantine and the chaos that we've all dealt with. But I'm going to follow and practice my own medicine, and we're going to start with calming. And so I want you all to just take a moment and relax.
We're going to start with getting centered and present, and that starts with breathing. If everyone could just take a deep breath in through their nose and release all the stress through your mouth. Again, take a deep breath in through your nose, filling up your body, and release through your mouth. One more time, take a deep breath in and fill up your body. And release through your mouth, letting go of stress. We tend to shallow breathe on a daily basis, and when we take the time to stop and breathe deeply, we not only re-energize our system, but we calm it too. Next, I will take you through a relaxation visualization.
So I want everybody to look at the visual that you can see in front of you. And I want you to go back in time and think about a time in your life where you were sitting maybe on the side of a pond or a stream or a lake, and you felt the calmness of the day, where the water was quiet and you could hear the wildlife, maybe the birds around you. You could smell the smells of nature, whether it's a salt water or flowers or trees. And I just want you to get into this very relaxed, calm place, like you're sitting on the side of that pond right now. When you're able to slow down enough in life to get calm and centered and present, as you are right now through breathing and visualization, it's amazing how much more productive, happy, and powerful you will be in each and every day. So just take one more deep breath. And I want to go into poem. And if I can get this to move. There we go. So here is the questions for you. What is your top priority in life? And everybody has their own priority. So I just want you to pick one of these and then put it into chat. Friends and family, and you can abbreviate. You can put 1, 2, and 3 in the order that they're in. Or friends and family, success and money, or happiness and health. So everybody take a minute and put your answer into chat. Okay, how are we doing there, Jessica? You seen them come in? Because I
Yes,
can't see chat.
I'm
So,
I'm seeing
Lots
them
of
come.
family and friends.
okay, good.
We've got friends and family first, happiness and health second, happiness and health, family, family and friends, happiness and health, family and friends.
Yeah, I got to tell you that makes me happy to see so many professionals choosing happiness and health or friends and family over success and money, because our culture and our society drives us towards success. And they have proven it scientifically that money and success and material things don't bring happiness, but internal joy, friends and family, and good health does. And so everybody's answering in the right frame. What's important to know is that the bottom line here is yourself. And if you have health and happiness, then it is easier to support friends and family and have better relationships. And it's easier to have more success and make more money. But if you don't have the happiness and the health to start with, it's more difficult to have the other things. So today we're going to focus on this concept of peace and calm and happiness and health. So moving on, thank you everyone for taking the time to answer that polling question. I grew up in a family of warriors. My mother was a warrior, my grandmother was a warrior, and I came by it naturally. So when I was faced with difficult times when I was growing up, this worry state would take me into a tailspin. And I was doing it to myself and I never even realized it. I went through my entire life, and my father was a type A. He owned his own company. He was a CPA, worked all kinds of hours. And that's kind of what I believed one needed to do to be successful. And so I was focused on that success and money, right? And being very successful in life. And what it was doing is causing me pain and health issues and stress-related diseases, to the point that my doctor finally turned to me after years of doing this to myself. So I'd get sick, I'd heal myself, then I'd go back to work with just as much gusto. And after years of doing this, my doctor said to me, Marla, if you don't stop, you will die. Well, folks, when a doctor tells you that you're killing yourself, you have to stop and listen. And that was my wake-up call. And that's when I began to transform and change my life. And I have successfully done that. And now I've helped many other people who live in the stress zone in changing their lives. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So Irma Bombeck, I don't know, a lot of you probably remember her in our early years, but it's really, really easy with all the media and everything going on in the world today to go into a state of worry and anxiety and stress, but you don't have to. And that's the key, is that you have control over how you respond to the world. You know, Irma says it doesn't get you anywhere, and she's absolutely right. But most of the time, like I didn't know that you're doing this to yourself. And you have to learn to quiet down that voice in your head that starts to go into the negative thought process or go into the rumination and stay focused on, oh my God, how am I going to deal with this? And how am I going to get through Thanksgiving without my family? And all the things that are going on in the world, is we actually have control in how we respond. And it's really important at these times of craziness to be able to step back and actually take control of what's going on. So the next thing is another polling question. So I want to know how many of you, and you can say that you do one of these, two of these, or three of these. So put a 1, 2, or 3 on the chat screen. Do you ever get worried, anxious? Do you get stressed? Do you lose sleep? If you're one of them, write 1. If you're 2 of them, write 2. And this is ever, folks. And if you ever do this, you should be marking 1, 2, or 3. So I'll let Jessica let me know what it's saying.
We got lots of 3s popping up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? That's normal. And we all think that's normal. That was my life. I used to get worried. I used to get anxious. I used to get stressed, and I used to lose sleep. And folks, I rarely do any of those anymore. And it's very possible for every single one of you to move out of that worry, anxious, stressed, losing sleep mode and move into what I call the being zone or a flow state or a calm state. And so it's extremely normal for us to all be in this place. And don't feel bad if you said all three, because believe me, I existed there for most of my life. And it wasn't until I was older and wiser that I started to get it and realized how much control I had over that. So I'm going to give you some tools today to help you move out of that worry, that anxious, that stress, and that non-sleep state. So moving on. So why we do what we do. Believe it or not, we are actually hardwired for worry. And what I mean by that is when you're growing up, so when you're born, through about age 7 or 8, your brain is in a theta state. And a theta state is like a hypnosis state. So everything that you hear, see, experience, or feel becomes ingrained within you. And so if your mother was a worrier, or your grandmother was a worrier, or your grandfather, or whatever, anybody was stressed, you picked up those nuances and it became part of your belief system. Secondly, all of us have big hearts and we really, really care about others. And we tend to usually worry more about others than often ourselves. And when you're worried about your kids or your spouse or your parents or anybody in your life that is struggling, that worry is hard to turn off because there's a legitimate reason for being maybe worried about the person. Maybe the kid is struggling and not being accepted at school. Maybe mom and dad are exposed to COVID. Whatever the case might be, it can send us into this state of worry and stress. So what happens when your head goes into this worry and stress mode and it just keeps repeating itself is that it affects your body. So think about it. When you're stressed or worried, what starts happening? Sometimes people clench their jaws. Sometimes people get headaches because they're kind of tightening things in their head. You might get stiff neck or shoulders or tension. You might get upset stomach. Everybody reacts differently, but this worry or the stress starts to affect your body, which in turn, if you keep it long enough, affects your health, which is exactly what happened to me. So when you go into this mode and you keep building it up and you get stressed, not only can you get sick, but it also can send you into a depressed mode. And it's so hardwired in us. It's been with us for a lifetime. But even with that, I changed around age 50, and you can too. No matter how old you are, you can change your life. So according to, let me just move on here. According to an old study by the National Science Foundation, they say we have around 12 to 60,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are repetitive, and most of them are negative. So think about this for a moment. If you just start your day, you jump out of bed and you're going, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, I have to have this done by here, and you just start kind of thinking through your day, and as you're going through your day, a lot of the things that you're doing may be repetitive from what you were dealing with yesterday. And so you're getting those repetitive thoughts. I have found in my coaching and working with clients that when people get stuck in their thoughts and they keep thinking the same thoughts over and over again, they can put themselves into a slump. So that's what we're going to deal with. So that's what we're going to take on. So I want to talk first about Dr. Edwin Watkins, who has kind of dedicated his life to people that get stuck in their thoughts and these repetitive thoughts, and calls it rumination. And basically, he says all of his research focuses on depression, repetitive negative thoughts, rumination, and he says that affects our health and well-being. And it comes back to a book that I love by Mike Dooley called, let's see, Your Thoughts Become Things, Choose them wisely, your thoughts become things. And so basically, the thing for you to realize is your thoughts result in how you feel. And so you want to change your thoughts. And so this is where I want to talk a little bit more about this conscious mind versus your unconscious or subconscious mind. So your conscious mind, everybody's really aware of, is your left and right brain, right? Everybody realizes that you've got some logic and you've got some creativity and it comes from your brain. Well, according to science, we're only using about 5 to 10% of that conscious brain. 90 to 95% of how we react to the world is based on our subconscious. And so when you're reacting to the world because of your subconscious, then you are setting yourself up based on these ingrained beliefs that were kind of established in you when you were a very young child. And so when you were in that theta state, one of the oldest concepts in psychology is we have a subconscious mind, and despite our best intentions, it controls our life. And so what I've learned to do is not to let that subconscious mind control my life. And that's what I want to teach you, because that's how you sabotage yourself. When you allow that subconscious that's deep within you, ingrained in your cellular memory, to control your life. So, yeah, are there any questions yet, Jessica, that I need to answer? I'm kind of moving quickly, and I should probably slow down a little bit.
That's okay.
Okay.
So if anyone has questions in the chat, and we can address them as they come up.
Good. Yeah. So just let me know if people aren't getting something or not understanding thing. But the main thing here is we want to turn off that voice in our heads. That voice in our heads that goes into the repetitive thinking, that goes into the rumination, that goes into the negative thoughts. And it's all very possible. I live my life living there, and I know you can turn it off because I have. So what's important for us is we want to feel coherent in our lives. We want to feel balanced and happy and healthy. We hate feeling helpless. We hate feeling stressed. We hate feeling anxious, right? Or out of control. And what we want to do is learn how to build more coherence, the being zone, which is what I talk about, because that helps us feel more calm and relaxed. Kind of like that first screen where I had you breathe and look at that calm pond. It put you into a state of coherence. When you can start your day in that state of coherence, you're more likely to be able to maintain that coherence throughout the day. And when you learn to operate in the being zone, which we're going to go into now, you're going to be more in alignment with what feels right to you. So the first tool, and people laugh at me when I first introduce them, my clients laugh at me, they go, what? But really, you can throw your thoughts away. And so I just want everybody for a moment to think about their greatest anxiety or their greatest worry or their greatest stress right now. Whatever that is, you're going to feel it in your body. And so I want you to think about that stress, that anxiety, and I want you to recognize whether it's in your head and your head is starting to get jumbled, if it's in your heart and you're feeling pain in your heart, or if it's in your gut and you're feeling your gut clenching, whatever it might be. Think about your greatest anxiety or worry, and I want you to take your hand and I want you to reach it towards the area of your body where you feel that anxiety, that stress, or that worry, and just pull it out like it's a physical thing. So just pull it out, and then I want you to hold that feeling of worry or anxiety or pain or stress or whatever it is in your hand like it's a physical thing. And then I want you in your mind's eye, and you can, if you're muted, you can do this out loud. If you're not muted, then quietly do this, but talk to it. Talk to this worry, this anxiety, this stress that you're holding in your hand now, and say, you know what, thanks for being there. I know you're trying to help, but I don't need you. And then wad it up and throw it away. It's called the throw it away tool. Folks, this is so dang effective. My clients laugh at me when I first teach them this, and then they start using it and they call me up and they go, oh my gosh, I threw away all these thoughts and I'm doing so much better. Because otherwise your thoughts stay there. You have to catch them. You have to recognize them, and then you have to get rid of them for you to be able to live without your subconscious controlling you. So step number one, really major tool to remember, is throw away your thoughts. So just pull them up, talk to them, thank them, let them know you don't need them, and just throw them away. Okay. From there, you want to focus on what you do want. So think about this. If you were going to drive to Pennsylvania today, you'd probably need a map, right? You need to know where you're going to get there. And a lot of us go through life and we might have goals and we might have things we're working towards, but do we think about them every single day? And do we set intentions and talk about them every day? Because what we want, if we don't want that worry and that anxiety, what do we want, right? So you want to focus on what you do want. So this next tool is a tool of writing down where you're at right now as far as your subconscious thinking. So that worry you had or that pain. So basically what I'm hearing a lot now is I am terrified of the COVID, that I will be exposed to it, or my family will be exposed to it, or that it will affect my family in some way. And if that's your thought and you keep thinking that, that worry is just going to keep building up inside of you. So instead you want to focus on what you do want. So you're going to turn that negative, that fear, that worry, and that anxiety into what you do want. So saying how you want to feel. I feel confident and grateful that I'm adhering to all the rules of COVID and I'm going to stay safe. Or I'm confident that my family is in a safe place and they will not be exposed. When you're saying what you do want, you're most likely to get those results. So take your frame of thinking every time you start to think, oh my gosh, I can't go out, I can't do this. Focus on what you do want. You know what? I can stay home and I can get this project done, or I can get this done, or I can call a friend, or I can do a conference with somebody, FaceTime or a Zoom conference. There's so many things you can do in our life circumstances today. You don't have to stay in the negative down state. You can focus on what you do want and build more of that into your every single day. And it's a choice. And it has to be a conscious choice. You have to move from that voice in your head into catching it, throwing it away, and focusing on what you do want. So that's the second tool. So you have two tools right now. You've got your throw it away tool, and you've got your changing your words to what you do want and focusing on what you do want. So the subconscious that I'm talking about, this voice in your head, actually cannot exist in the present moment. So when you breathe in calm, looking at a calm body of water or looking at trees or sitting in a nature setting, you actually, when you get very, very calm and very, very present, that worry and that rumination and all of that stuff goes away when you're focused on what's in front of you, because the subconscious does not exist in the present moment. And that's why the concept of mindfulness works. When you are very, very present and very, very mindful of your surroundings and things going on around you, then you have the opportunity to respond in a more measured way. Like, for instance, I spoke about throwing away the thoughts and saying what you do want. When you're very, very present and a worry shows up, you catch it. And then you can say, oh, well, do I need to worry about that? Does it really matter? How can I respond? And you start to get more responsive in a measured way versus reactive, which is what we do when the voice in our head controls us. So it's important for you to be able to ask, why am I having this thought? What does it mean? What should I learn from it? Because you're going to learn from the subconscious messages and the voice that shows up. You don't want to just ignore it. You want to learn from it, but then you want to let it go and focus on what you do. What I want to talk about next is we have 3 brains. And this is really critical in you moving from a head-based life into a heart-based life, is understanding the 3 brains. Science in Western medicine has always focused on our brain. And like I said, we're only using about 5 to 10% of that. What they have proven now scientifically is these other 2 brains play a major role in our life if we listen to them. But our culture, our society has actually taught us to quiet those and to try to be logical, be practical. Oh, don't wear your feelings on your sleeve. Don't, you're too weak, you're too soft, you're too this. But in reality, listen to your body is going to give you the answers and the direction that you want to follow. And these 3 brains working in concert are the most powerful way to walk through the world. And so let me describe each of the brains. So the heart brain, of course, is in your heart, but it is actually the most powerful brain in your body. And they have measured this through EEGs and proven that it is 60 times more powerful than the brain waves, the heart waves that they're picking up at the heart. And they're saying 60 times more messages go up to the brain than vice versa. And so think about this for a moment. When you're walking through life and something feels good to you, oftentimes you feel it in your heart. Let's just say you see a puppy, or you just had a baby, or your kids had a baby, and just looking at that baby warms your heart. Well, when you listen to your heart in concert with your brain, you're going to be so much more powerful than if you're just operating in that brain. With the subconscious brain, by the way, is in your cerebellum in the back of your head, and that's about 90%. So you're quieting that subconscious brain that's ingrained in you. You're turning on your conscious brain in concert with your heart. Then the gut brain is, there's this all kinds of new scientific research around what's called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is a nerve that runs from your brainstem down to all your organs in your gut. And they're saying 90% of the messages are coming from your gut up to your brain, than vice versa. So when you learn to listen to your body, your heart, and your gut brain in concert with your conscious brain, you are going to be right on track. You're going to be so much more powerful, and that little voice in your head starts to fade away because you're no longer listening to it. You're listening to your body, which is about learning to be quiet and existing in the being zone. This is a place where when you listen to your body, you will become calmer and happier and healthier, and everything works a little better in life. So we're going to learn some tools. So here's tool number 3. We're going to learn some tools to help you listen to your body and listen to these other brains. So the first one's the warm heart tool. And I'm going to have everybody take a moment and think about something or some place in their life that really makes their heart happy. It might be a pet. You know how pets love you unconditionally? Babies, when they look at you and they just smile and they just light up, and that just warms your heart. Young children that just idolize you and just listen to your every word. And it might be a place. It might be sitting on the beach, or being on a mountaintop, or on a hike in the woods, someplace that brings you a lot of joy. So when everybody visualize a place, a baby, a person. I usually don't recommend a spouse or a sibling or a child that's older, because they usually come with conditions and judgment, and that can warm your heart maybe for a second, but can also make you cool really fast. So what you're going to do is you're going to think about that baby, that pet, or that place, and I want you to say a truth statement. So we're going to do an easy one. I want everybody to just say, my name is, and so I'll say, my name is. So warm your heart thinking of the baby or the pet or the place. And then say a truth statement. My name is Marla. And you would say, my name is whatever it is. And your heart's going to stay warm. Now keep your heart warm, thinking of the baby or the pet. And I want you to say a lie. My name is Jorge. And you can hardly say it usually, or your body cools off, or it feels wrong to say it because it's a lie. And your heart will tell you if something's truth or a lie. This is where your intuition lies, folks. And when you begin to listen to your heart and pay attention to how it feels when you say something, you know when you're telling the truth, and you know when you're not. Or you know when someone else is telling the truth or when they're not. You feel it in your heart. So this is a really powerful tool. Now, let me clarify here. Some people have a difficult time feeling because they've been told to shut off their feelings at a very young age. With practice, you can get to the point where you do feel and you do experience something when you warm your heart, and you can warm your heart. In time, mine is so automatic, it's very visceral, and it just jumps right out at me. It just is there. And so with practice and learning to listen to your heart, all of you will get to that stronger point. The next tool is called the sway test. And the sway test is allowing your body, which involves your gut brain. And let me talk about the gut brain for a minute, because it kind of plays a little bit into this. Have you ever walked down a dark road at night and you heard a noise and you felt your gut clench, and you just kind of felt like you shouldn't keep going? Or maybe you heard a noise in the middle of the night and you felt that clenching in your gut, or just before an accident, or maybe even a decision based on a gut response to not get on a plane. Whatever the case might be, your gut is very, very powerful, and it's part of your body, and your body tells the truth when you learn to listen to it. And like I said, we were taught to shut it off. So what I want you to do is I want you to now, if you're able to, where you're at and still see the screen and it's comfortable and you're not in a car or anything and you're not driving, I want you to stand up, and I want you to put your feet a little more than hip distance apart. And I want you to drop your hands by your side with your palms facing forward. And your knees are not tight. They're kind of in a relaxed position. They're kind of bent a little bit. And so you're standing in this position. So everybody get up into their stance. Your feet a little more than hip distance apart, your hands by your side. And I want you, if I were to come up and push you, you wouldn't fall over very easy because your knees aren't locked and you're in a nice steady stance. So now in this position, I want you to say a truth statement, and I want you to pay attention to what your upper body does, like from your chest up to your head. So everybody just close your eyes so you can really tune into your body and what it's doing. And I want you to say to yourself a truth statement and pay attention to what your body does. So go ahead. So it can be as easy as my name is, or I love the name of the baby, or I love the name of the pet, or I love the name of the place. Try a few different things and just keep paying attention and see if you notice anything with your body. So now let me tell you what you're looking for. When you tell the truth, your body can't help but expand or move into this positive place. So most likely, many of you actually moved, maybe your face came forward, maybe your chest expanded, maybe you felt warm and expansive yourself, but that is truth when you move into truth. Now, let me tell you, about 2% of the population does this backwards. So if you're backwards on this, you're okay. And I've actually only ran into one person that was backwards, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's true. There is a backwards. Okay, now we're going to try a false statement. So I want you to say something that's not true. And so maybe if you said you loved your pet, say, I don't like dogs, or I don't like kids, or whatever your false statement is, and pay attention to what your body does when you say a false statement. And it can be make up a name, say you don't like kids, you don't like pets. Most likely, your body fell back, or you collapsed a little bit, or you felt a little bit off. Your body got cooled or didn't feel right. So any thoughts on this? Anybody want to comment whether they felt it, whether they moved forward, whether they didn't? Did this work by doing this on Zoom?
I felt it. And anyone else who experienced something, if you want to put it in the chat, seeing that is so cool.
Cool. Your body's always right. You got to learn to listen to it. We were kind of told not to growing up. Don't be a crybaby, right?
Yeah, I have
Be
someone
tough.
saying it was minor, but apparent.
Good, good.
Judy Williams is saying, holy cow, I can't believe how far back I almost fell.
I know, right? I have almost fallen on my face before, so I'm with you, Judy.
Carol is saying the body always tells the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Galen is saying move forward with truth thought, felt tense up with non-truth thought.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody has a little bit different response and a different reaction. So whatever you felt is right. Don't judge that if you didn't fall way forward or fall way back, that doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It just means your body reacts a different way. And when you're in tune to your body, then you know whether it's a truth or false. So this is, again, intuition, folks. When you listen to your heart and you listen to your body and you listen to your gut, you will always make the right decisions in life. And when after throwing away those thoughts and focusing on what you do want and then listening to what you do want by getting the intuition out of your body, it's amazing how your life can transform just with these few simple tools, right? Cool. Thanks for participating, everybody, and for feeding back. And I saw both of you, Jessica and Elaine, both got up and did it. So I'm glad to hear that. Elaine, did you have a response?
Yeah, no, that was really cool. I've
Awesome.
never had to do that before. I really like that.
Yeah, yeah. I use it every day, folks. And I actually have clients now who don't feel very much, who can't feel it. They'll call me up and say, will you sway for me? Because I can feel their energy over the phone, which we'll get into a little bit on that in a minute. But I can actually sway and feel for people and help them make decisions. And so people call me and pay me just to have me sway. So you can do this yourself. You can get
Not a bad
really good at
gig.
it yourself. You don't have to call me, but if you want to, you can. So anyway, that's the sway test. And part of that, there's other ones. If you've ever gone to like a chiropractor or a naturopath, they might have you stick your arm out. I can't show it on the screen, your arm out, and they'll put their hand on your arm and they'll ask you questions. And when your arm holds, it's truth. And when your arm drops, it's not. Well, the same thing can be done with finger muscle. And I didn't include this in the presentation because I thought it might be hard, But when you loop your fingers together and put the other one through, this is another way. This way you can do in a business meeting, Elaine. So if you're trying to make a decision on which way to go in a business meeting, or Jessica, you can do it under the table, which I used to do. And you pull back and forth. You hold it really lightly. When you tell a truth statement, it's going to hold. When you lie, so my name is Marla, I hold. My name is Jorge, and it slips. So that one sometimes takes a little more practice for people to get used to it, but all it is the same thing. It's a muscle test, and your body tells you what's right and what's not. Okay, moving on. Oops, I was on this page. Okay, so so the key here is learning to listen to your body and living from a heart-based place versus a head. Remember how I said you want to turn off that voice and throw away those thoughts. So you want to get out of your head, which is your cerebellum. You want to stay in your conscious brain, and you want to begin to operate in concert with your gut brain, your heart brain, and your conscious brain. When you learn to slow down enough and breathe and get into that mellow place, that present moment is the place where you are always going to know best. When you're rushed and stressed and pushing, you're going right back into that head. And so you want to learn to operate in this calm place. And a good way to do that is to start every day in that calm place. When you do that, you begin to not listen to old belief systems that really don't do you any good, or you start to eliminate the negative thoughts, and you will always make the right decisions. So moving on, Kurt Vonnegut said, "You are a human being, not a human doing." And my whole book is kind of based on this concept, folks. The name of my book is The Being Zone, and I teach people all about how to get into the being zone, which is a calm, present place. Because in our society, in our culture today, we have been driven. It's been about money and success, right? And we actually have been encouraged to live in more of what I call a stress state, always on the go and doing things. I think about it. When I was growing up, I spent a lot of time, we grew up on a lake, and I spent a lot of time outside on the lake or in the woods playing and just free for all. Well, as my kids were growing up, it's like, oh, you got to have them in this sport and you got to have them in this because it's going to do them a lot more good. And you start driving your kids to do so many things that it's actually exhausting you too. Because, and so COVID's kind of a gift here because you don't have to run and go as much, although a lot of people are driving that online now. But when you're always on the go, you can still be successful. You can still do really well in life without going and doing as much as what our society and our culture tends to want us to do. So what people don't understand, and I didn't understand for years, is the value in being present. Just think about it. I mean, look at this girl's face, right? We rarely stop to just be really present, where you're really in tune to the surroundings around you and you're not preoccupied. So many people walk in the house, flip on the TV, flip on the stereo, start cooking, start doing whatever they need to do. And folks, that isn't a present state. I never turn the TV on except for maybe a Husky game or a Seahawk game. But my husband will turn it on and we'll watch shows from time to time. But basically, it's hard to be really, really present when you have all this noise and stuff going on the outside. I tend to want to spend more time on the beach or in the woods hiking or walking or whatever the case might be. So we tend to, when we live in the doing zone, remember how I talked about that child that lived in this theta state? When you move into the being zone, you live more in that theta state. And when you're in that hypnosis or suggestive state, you can take control of your life. When we're rushed and stressed and trying to do all the time, we live in what's called more of a beta or an alpha or beta brainwave state, where our brainwaves are going a lot faster. And that increases the stress in our body and results in the tension, which results in the illness, which results in the problems, right? And so learning to get out of that doing zone and learning to exist in the being zone is really, really important. So next, in the world of positive psychology, a flow state, I'm going to actually read this. A flow state is known as being in the zone. It's a mental state in which a person performing some activity is fully immersed in the feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment in the process of the activity. So the being zone is a flow state, folks. If you, again, look at this beautiful scenery and this calm water. You want to get into this calm, beautiful flow state where you're just really immersed in the feeling of the moment, where you're really got to focus on what you do want, and you're feeling complete and total happiness and joy in that moment, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. It can be in your home, it can be on the beach, it can be on a mountaintop, it can be wherever you want. But the being zone is a state of mind and body. People go, what's it like to be in the being zone or to exist in the being zone? So some of my examples are, have you ever gone to Hawaii and you're in a hammock or on a, whatever those things are called that you lay on, and you just feel so relaxed and there's nobody around, it's a quiet beach, and you can hear the waves coming in and out, you can smell the tropical flowers, you can feel the wind lightly rustling and the sunlight's filtering through the palm trees, and you're completely and totally aware of everything, the smells, the feels, the touch, the everything, the sounds going on around you. That is the being zone. And or like if you go to a massage and you're so totally into the massage that you almost fall asleep and you're just walk out of there in such a relaxed state. That's the kind of state you want to operate in daily, is this calmer, relaxed, kind of go with the flow state. It is a place where you calm and quiet that mind and you begin to really just tune into your body and listen to that and make decisions based on that, because that is when you're living in your intuition and in the being zone. So you can choose to enter this calm energy state every day. You can do it by starting your day with breathing, mindfulness exercises, and there's all kinds of free ones on the internet, folks. And I have a bunch on my website. If you get on my website, there's free ones. And I do not spam people with a lot of emails. If you get on there, I'm basically letting people know when there's events that I'm speaking at, which I'm doing a lot online now. And so you can go listen into some of the summits that I'm in. But I don't like to get emails, so I don't like to send emails. So, but I have relaxations and meditations and grounding exercise on there. If you buy my book, it actually gives you a code to give access. I think there's 32 different things on the back end of my website if you buy the book and have the code. And folks, if you sign up for that thing from my book, it's not going to spam you. It's going to give you all kinds of resources and tools that you can access. So these are the types of things you want to do daily. So let me keep moving. So I already talked about this. I kind of jumped ahead of myself, I guess. I put that hammock on the beach because, just think about that. Just think if you were in that hammock right now, how it would feel with that sun warming you, the white sand, the calmness of the water, the smell of the flowers, the birds singing. It's just amazing. It's like you're effortlessly absorbed in your life, in your surroundings, and what you're doing at that moment in time. So I have 5 steps that are going to help you get here every single day. And folks, you can do this in 5 minutes. And so the key is to make a commitment. I spend probably an hour every morning getting into this mindful, amazing state because that is what I want. My body thirsts for it. I love it. And it keeps me in that being zone. But I have a lot of clients who have very, very busy lives, and they have kids and they have work and they have all kinds of responsibilities. They can do it in 5 minutes. And they tell me the difference between doing this every day and not doing this every day is the difference between a good day and a bad day. When they take the 5 minutes, they have a good day. When they don't, they have a tough day. So it's your choice whether you want to take 5 minutes of your day and spend trying to do these steps. And you can make the steps what you want. The concept is, so as you can see, it ties to the word being. And the B step is moving into your being zone. And I would move to a screen in a minute, kind of tell you what all the options are to get into that B step and into that being zone. The second step is about your energy. You got to change your energy. If you have been stressed and overwhelmed and running 1,000 miles an hour, you're going to have more tense energy. If you've been around negative things or hearing a lot of chaotic things and really are scared and running in fear, you're going to have more of a heavy energy. And so you got to change your energy so that you can have a good day. The I step of being is intentions. You got to know where you're going, remember? In my book, I talk a lot about getting to your true north, your purpose, because when you're doing things that are fulfilling, there's all kinds of studies on this, you're going to be happier and healthier. And then the last thing is always believing there's something greater than you. And you don't have to be religious. You don't even have to be what I call spiritual. You can trust in something greater than you. And it's up to you what that is. So let me keep on moving down. So breathing step is the B step is the easiest one's breathing. If you want the 5-minute routine, is just do the 3 deep breaths like I did earlier, where you take a deep breath in, you hold it, then you release it through your mouth. And so you're breathing in love or calm, and you're releasing everything that does not serve you, and you do it 3 times. I have, like I said, meditations and relaxations on my website that you can access, and those are also, and they're 2 and 3 minute things. So you can, if you have 10 minutes, you might pick up one of those. So the next step, the E step, is energy. So I'm going to walk you through a couple exercises here. And I know that they're taping this. It's going to be on YouTube, so you can go back and practice this by listening to this tape that Jessica's putting together. So what we want to do is when we are tense and worried and stressed and anxious, we tend to tighten, right? And so you kind of get stuck energy in your body because we are energetic beings, and Western medicine is finally getting on board with that concept. Eastern medicine has been there for years. So what I want you to do is I want you to just close your eyes for a minute, and I want you to visualize that you have a bubble floating above your head. The type of bubble a child would blow with a bubble machine, right? And inside that bubble is a magnet, and it's the most powerful magnet in the world. So just close your eyes, and I want you to visualize that magnet pulling out of you all the stress, overwhelm, tightness, tension, anything and everything that's not serving you. Just feel it getting sucked right out of you, getting pulled right up. That magnet's so powerful, it's just pulling it up, and that bubble's getting bigger and bigger and darker, and it keeps floating above your head. Just feel it just getting fuller and fuller. It's just getting pulled out of you and pulled out of you. The tightness, the tension, the headache, the neck pain, the jaw pain, the eyes that are tight, the headache. Pull it out and pull it out and pull it out. Just keep pulling it out and pulling it out and pulling it out and pulling it out. Feel it just getting pulled right out of you. And soon you're going to start to feel lighter. Then I want you to just visualize reaching up, touching that bubble, and it's going to float up into the universe and dissipate. And take a deep breath. My gut is everybody feels a little bit lighter now, more like they're relaxed, calm, and in the being zone. We carry a lot of stress and tension in our shoulders and neck, and this is a fast, easy exercise that you can just get rid of it in a moment's notice. Sometimes your subconscious is active when you sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, I might have tension in my shoulders because of my dreams, that I immediately do the bubble and the magnet before I even start doing my breathing or anything else. Another one is, so once you pull out the bad energy and the negative energy, and there's different tools for this, and it's in my book, you can bring in good energy. So this is a visualization, and it's actually one that an Olympic athlete that I coached used too. And I was really surprised to hear that they enjoyed this tool. But let me just walk you through that visualization. So once again, I want you to visualize yourself as a tree. You can close your eyes for this if you want. Visualize yourself as a tree standing tall and proud out in your field. And you feel the sun's rays coming down, warming your branches and your leaves. And your branches and your leaves are your head, your neck, your shoulders, and your arms, your hands, your fingers. Feel that sun coming down and just warming all your branches and leaves. And now feel that warmth just flow down into your trunk, which is your body. Feel it flow all the way down your trunk, through your legs, to your feet. And then I want you to feel the roots of your tree flowing out the bottom of your feet into the soft soils of the earth, where they hook into the crystalline layer. And that layer is full of amazing energy. And that energy from the inner part of the earth is flowing back up those roots. Visualize it just coming all the way up, and your feet begin to tingle and warm from that energy. Feel that warmth and that tingling in your feet, and allow it to move up into your calves, up into your thighs, up into your hips. Feel it move all the way up your core to your neck and your head. Just allow it to move up, and it's okay if it gets stuck. Just keep working it. Visualize it moving all the way up to your head, across your shoulders, down your arms to your fingertips. And then turn up the volume like you turn up a stereo. And allow that buzzing, tingling, warm to just vibrate through your body and calm your entire system. and bringing good energy into you for you to get through your day. And then take a deep breath and come back to reality. Okay. Most likely, most of you felt something. Some of you may have gotten it all the way through, and some of you may not. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It just means it's going to take practice for you to be able to feel at that level. And just know doing these types of visualizations will put you into the being zone and into a calm state so that you can operate from your heart and your intuition and the being zone moving forward. So again, the third step in being is the I step, which is intentions. And you got to know where you're going to get there. And I always say if you add gratefuls to it or thankfuls to it, that it makes it even more powerful. And it can be very, very simple intentions if you don't know exactly who you are, where you're going, or what you're doing, is just say, I'm grateful I'm able to move through this day with ease and grace, or I'm grateful to be able to move through this day with joy. I'm thankful that I'm inspired and happy and healthy today and every day. Because if you keep saying that every day, those kind of words, what you do want, it starts getting ingrained in your memory. And so instead of those subconscious thoughts that you don't want, you start having the conscious thoughts that you do want, right? And so you want to say, and don't have too many. If you have too many, it kind of loses its power. Have one or two and just say what you do want. I want my day to be happy and healthy and fun. And I know my day, I'm grateful my day is going to be happy, healthy. So you want to say it like it's happening and it's a reality. So that's the I step. The N step has to do with your purpose or your true north. And on that one, a lot of people go, well, I don't know my purpose. I don't know my true north. We all are on earth. I believe we are all on earth for a reason. And that when you're following your heart and you're listening to it, you can begin to move towards doing the things in your life, whether it's a career or your personal time, doing the things that are your purpose, that do fill you up, whether it's volunteer work or something else, if you can't make it part of your job because of your situation. My book does have a whole chapter, whole chapter on getting to your purpose, and has all kinds of exercises to kind of help you figure out who you are and what's going to really, really make you happy. But it's really learning when you get out of that head and listen to your heart, you get stronger and stronger in this. So the things that I'm saying are every day is I really am on earth, I know, to help change this world to a better place. And I also give and spread love because love is where it starts, folks. When we're giving love and authentic love from our hearts and putting it out into the world, people feel it. And that changes your energy and affects theirs too. Then the last step is looking for guidance. And again, you don't have to be religious. You can call it what you want. It doesn't matter to me, but it's just trusting that there's something bigger than you helping you. And I say this, thank you, Source, for deciding where you would have me go, guiding me on what you would have me do, what you would have me say and to whom. And then I do open-ended where, what does the world need from me right now? How can I best serve? Because it's not about me. It's about the betterment of everybody. And when you say these things and then you sit in that energy and see what shows up, it's amazing what little messages you might get. So folks, those are those 5 steps, those 5 simple steps that I talked about in the very beginning is, the BEING. So the breathing, the energy, the intentions, the north, the true north, and guidance. So, and Jessica, I'm happy to send a PDF with those steps to you to share with the group if you want.
Yes, that would be great. And we'll send it out to everyone along with a link to the video as well.
Perfect.
Right.
Okay.
Are there any questions right now? People, if you have them, you can put them in the chat. I don't see any at the moment.
I'm keeping them too busy.
I think everyone's in a very calm.
I know, right? Feel a little bit better than hopefully go into Thanksgiving. If you practice this the next couple of days, your Thanksgiving may be more joyful, no matter whether you're with family or not.
Yeah.
The other big piece of this is what I call happiness boosting activities. They have proven scientifically, again, and I back up everything I'm saying with science, folks. I do all kinds of research and follow a lot of people. But the more you do things that you love, the better you will feel. And so I've listed a few things here, some of my favorite things. I'm not a very good gardener, but I sure try. But I love photography and art and music and nature and yoga and meditation and dance. And when you do things, you might have golf, or your interests may be different. And it doesn't matter what your interests are, but when you do things that make your heart happy, you're going to be happier overall. And so take some time to really think about, what are the things you've always loved to do? And let me give you a little secret here. Most of the things that you love the most, that you come by naturally, you did as a very young child. So you might have loved color when you were young. You might have loved to climb trees. So that means spend more time in nature. So think back to your childhood and some of your favorite ways to spend your time, and that's going to give you a clue on your favorite activities if you don't know what they are today. But if there are things that you know you have, make a list. And I do one of these every day, folks. Every single day, without exception, I build in a happiness boosting activity, because it keeps me happy and balanced and invigorated for life. So, so the next thing is this. There's my books, folks. I've got the Being Zone and Companion Journal, which you can buy both on Amazon. But we're going to do a drawing, and I believe that Jessica has captured all the names of the people present today, and she's been cutting them up, or someone's been helping her and getting them cut up, so we can do a drawing for someone from this group is going to get a signed copy of both the book and the journal. And that I will either drop it off or send it to them, depending on where you are, or you can come pick it up, and I can personalize it for you. So I'll just get your phone number from Jessica and give you a call and find out how we want to exchange this. But it's my gift to you guys for someone to win this, to help one more person get into the Being Zone. So Jessica, are you at a position where you can pull? Okay, you got it?
Yeah. I
Okay.
actually had my daughter pull it from the basket, so third party. And the winner is Kaya Summerfield. And Elaine told me that Kaya just joined the chamber yesterday. So,
oh my gosh, way to go, Kaya. Good energy.
I have Kaya's email address, so I'll just send that
Perfect
to you, and you guys can touch base.
So Kaya, expect to hear from me, and check your junk mail if you don't hear something here shortly after this call, and so that, or by tomorrow, because sometimes it goes there, right? Anyway, so beyond the book, I have a training program, and it's basically the book on steroids. And the book is kind of broken into 3 sections of discovery, transformation, and connection. And discovery is where you really learn about why you are the way you are and what you can do about it. The transformation teaches you the stuff that we kind of went through a lot today, which is learning to listen to your heart, learning to listen to your energy, learning to get out of the doing zone and into the being zone, and really figuring out your purpose. And then the final part of the training is the connect, where you're connecting with your energy, you're connecting with source, and you're implementing your 5 steps and your happiness boosting activities. So this training, you can find it through my website, www.thebeingzone.com. But it basically, if you're a person who's read the book or reading the book and it struggles, because it's a hard book, it's a guidebook, and there's a lot of journaling, a lot of exercise, this kind of makes it more alive and vibrant, and individuals can take it. I'm actually creating it so that counselors and therapists and coaches, I've coached a lot of these people and helped their practices tremendously, so that they can utilize it in their business, helping their clients get to a point where they live in the being zone and have a happier life. So I think that's what I had today. Oh, yeah, that's it. I have question and answers now, and I'm happy to talk about anything or answer any questions.
Perfect. So
I can actually turn off this part now and just go back to stop share. Okay, there we go.
Great. So thank you so much. I feel incredibly relaxed already. I think this is so timely. So we have a lot of comments coming in saying thank you, great tools for ending the 2020 and the holiday season. Great talk, and your voice is very calming. So I think people feel great, but we've got time for questions if anyone has them. You mentioned your morning routine and spending about an hour kind of getting into this state. Can you talk a little bit about what you find helpful?
Yeah, so I'm going to be unique because I've been doing this so long now. But I actually, believe it or not, even in this cold weather, I go out on my deck. It's a covered deck,
Mhm.
and I bundle up in a winter coat, and I have blankets, and I'm out on my deck under the stars because I feel more calm and relaxed outside. And so not everybody's going to want to go outside, especially in 40, 30, 40, 50-degree weather. If it's blowing and raining, I don't go out because it's going to hit me. But every chance that I get, I'm out there, or I go sit on the beach when the clouds thing. So I start there. And I actually start every single morning with, I kind of go through the same thing where I go through my 5 steps, but in much more detail. So my breathing and pulling out the energy and all of that, and my meditation and relaxation, I know these by heart, so I just go through them. You can listen to the recordings on my website so that if you're new and trying to get used to this, you can listen to recordings to get yourself there. But the key is just learning to calm your psyche, calm your system, right? And I spend a lot of time kind of on the intentions and where I'm going, because writing the book, creating this training, all kind of came to me out on my morning sessions. And I actually go into what I call a trance state, because I've slowed down my brain waves so much that I'm really just feel almost numb and buzzing, and that I actually am in tune to everything that kind of comes to me at that point in time. And I actually asked for guidance. I was lucky enough, I don't know if any of you know who Bruce Lipton is, but he wrote The Biology of Belief. And he's one of the people I follow. And I was fortunate enough to meet him, get introduced to him, and invited to join him for a week in Canada at a Sundance ceremony, which is a Native American ceremony. And so when I'm doing my morning work, I call in the grandfathers and the spirit guides, because I've learned this from the Native American tribe, the Cree tribe that I've done work with. And it's amazing, folks, when you really slow down and connect with nature, how you can calm your system and really start to get awareness of what's important in life.
See a lot of nodding heads. Everyone's just nod, nod, nod.
Nice. Good.
Um, I don't see any questions coming in. Did you want to talk about community a little bit?
Yeah, I do. So this is kind of cool. I actually listened to, and I'm not going to be really knowledgeable on this because I actually just listened to a podcast this morning that Bruce Lipton, I follow Bruce Lipton. I get his emails, his whatever, but he's on a new podcast called upliftconnection.com. And on that, he talked about community, and he takes it back to cells. When the world first started, because he's a scientist, and so he always connects things scientifically. And so he talks about how a cell was a single thing, and then it grew and it kind of combined with other cells, and it got this new protective layer, and it became a bigger community, right? So instead of a single, it became a community. Then it became an amoeba, and then that expanded, and then it became human. And so he kind of walks through the science of all that. But his whole point here is the community is always stronger as a group than as a single. I mean, we never would have gotten to the moon if one person said, I'm going to the moon, and tried to do it on their own, right? We never would have invented computers if we said, okay, we're going to put a community together and people are going to be able to talk to each other around the world, right? And so we, as a chamber and as a community in Stanwood and in Camino Island, we can group together as a community, and a community together is so much stronger than a single, right? And so just the little things that you do, and Jessica told me about a few things that they're doing, just these little things, one step by one group, can be so much more powerful for the greater whole. Do you want to talk about that at all, Jessica?
Yeah, I mean, I think our community, there's so many things going on right now, in terms of, donations to the food bank, fundraising for the Christmas house. Our community is stepping up in terms of supporting all of the organizations that exist and the community as a whole. I wanted to make sure everyone knew we just started a GoFundMe for our restaurants in Stanwood and Camino. Based on these most recent restrictions, the restaurants are hit pretty hard. And so we want to make sure that they know that their community is behind them. And so We started it with $1,000 from the chamber, but in 2 days, the community donated an additional $400 to that. So just in 2 days, we're at $1,400. And what we're going to do, that runs through December 10th, to be able to donate. So if you can share it as much as you can, we're then just going to purchase gift cards to restaurants in Stanwood and Camino, and then give the gift cards away to the people who donated. So for every $10 you donate, your name goes into the pot to be drawn for those cards. So it's, it's little things, but it feels really good to be able to support our community in that way. And I know there's a lot of other things going on right now and Giving Tuesday's coming up. Last month, we had Bev talk about Giving Tuesday, and I think it's December 2nd. So that's another way that we can all help each other out.
Judy has a suggestion.
I'm sure the food bank would love, I would check with the food bank, but I'm sure that they have a use for some sort of gift cards as well.
So going back to the concept of community, so all of this is amazing, and just the little steps and all of us kind of working together as a community to make a real difference in the community is powerful. Remember the single people and the people next to you that may be quiet and not, and I know the community center does a lot for that, especially some of the elderly that are on their own, and can't get out like they used to and need to have things brought to them. There's another concept around community I want to talk about, because we are only as powerful as each other. So it goes back, you can tie how humans are in the world and what's been going on in our world with a lot of strife and negative and that type of thing. We're no different than trees. So the way the trees work is there's this great amount of fungi and undergrowth between the trees, and they actually communicate to each other and they support each other. They're like family. And if one tree is suffering, the other trees will feed into that tree to help it. Even trees that have been filled, they'll feed into that trunk and keep the trunk alive, which is why other things can grow out of it. And so you've got this whole community in the forest, and this whole, one piece is no greater than the whole. They all take together. That's the same with our community. It takes all of us together, supporting each other in whatever way we can, to become the greater whole and become really powerful as a community, as an organization, whatever it might be. But I just find this stuff so fascinating. That might be tied to where I go in my next book, even though I talked a lot in my book about relationships and how important they are, and community. It is really, it's time to take down the barriers and the blocks and the differences of opinions and just work together to make this world of ours a better place.
Absolutely. We are stronger together.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other questions for Marla? Comments? Anybody? Well, thank you again so much. This was incredibly helpful. I'm excited I actually feel like I need to go back and watch it again.
There you go.
And again, I did put a link in the comments to the Amazon for your book, as well as to your website. So I want to encourage everybody to go and purchase Marla's wonderful book and get some more insight. Any other questions or comments?
Yay.
We will I've got just ordered my book popping up.
Thank you. I got to tell you, I'm not making a ton of money on the books, but it's really the message in the book that I want to get out. That's what's important to me. So thank you for buying the book and supporting this effort.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Thank you, everybody. Elaine, do you have anything else you need to say?
I just wanted to talk about the toy and jacket drive that we're doing. That one's going to be going through the end of this month. We're accepting unwrapped gifts, toys for children, and then also some new jackets as well. Our drop-off locations is at the UPS store in Stanwood, and then the Remax on Camino. So like I said, we're going to be doing that through November 30th, and all of those donations are going to be going to the Christmas house for the kiddos this holiday season. So real important. So please feel free to donate to that if you can.
Okay. Well, everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We miss seeing you in person, but love seeing